What's up, Jet Nation? This is GreenBean hanging out outside the Alamo today, and I can't help but be inspired to talk about the line of scrimmage, the trenches. What will we do to fortify our battle lines going into the 2022 season? We'll get into it when I come back.
So what's up, Jet Nation? Again, I am GreenBean, and welcome to this video. I did have to move it inside. I'm in southern Texas, San Antonio, and it is less than 20 degrees. 20 degrees. Everything's frozen. So that little intro I filmed at the Alamo, that was the last little burst of nice weather, and I had to bring it inside. As you know, I like to record my Jet Nation videos on the road, outside, all the different locations and everything, but I just can't stay out there very long. It's freezing and windy and rainy, frozen rain. So here we are. Welcome to the video. And as I stated in the intro, we're going to discuss a little bit of what we can do on the trenches, on the line, the offensive line in particular. As we have probably learned by now, if you haven't, Cam Clark just announced his retirement. Now, a lot of Jets fans weren't really depending on him because we haven't seen him for one snap throughout his whole career. He was a fourth-round pick 129 in the 2020 draft, a really highly regarded pick. We had a lot of hope for him switching from tackle to guard. He was pretty much injured his entire rookie season. He was coming back in the 2021 training camp, and he was the third right guard, but he was involved in a battle with GVR and Alex Lewis, and in my firm opinion, I believe that he was going to be given every opportunity to win that job, and he would have won that job. But as we know, he had that terrible injury in practice, and he was carted off by an ambulance, and the fear was paralysis. So he did get movement back. I don't know the severity of where he is with that whole process, but we were told that he did get full range of motion back, which is obviously fantastic news. But he waited the year, probably met with numerous doctors, and made the decision that it's just not worth it. And I'm sure he's incredibly disappointed, as are we. But if you have a choice between risking paralysis, I think I would choose my health as well. So good for him. But it just highlights how much of an issue the interior offensive line really is. Now, we have Connor McDermitt, and he was highly rated, but he did have a very rough beginning of the season, maybe even the first half. He settled down and looked much better. But a lot of Jets fans aren't really high on Connor McDermitt, even though PFF rated him pretty highly, a top 10 center and all that jazz. And the improvement was obvious, but whether or not we want to count on him and extend him has yet to be determined, right? So we have Connor McDermitt. We did use a first-round pick on AVT. And then on the outsides, we have Becton, Fant. We had Moses this year. He's a free agent. More than likely won't be back. Still possible, of course. But Becton is a question mark. Fant really turned out to be a great find by JD. His first free agent signing period, really. In the first free agent period, Joe Douglas went out and got Fant. And a lot of people criticized, let's say. And it ended up being a very, very good pickup. So we do have two starting caliber tackles, but Becton is a question mark. We don't know what happened with him this year. So what are we going to do? We do have some pipeline guys. We have Isaiah Williams. We have Ross Pierschbacher. LDT has done well for us, but he's a free agent as well. We don't even know if he's coming back to the NFL. So there is a lot of question marks. While we have some talent up there, it's got to be taken care of. Again, Cam Clark, I'm sure that they were going to give him another opportunity this year. He's gone. LDT's a free agent. Morgan Moses is a free agent. Connor McDermitt's a free agent. So there's a lot of question marks. So what can we do? I think that this has to be the year that Joe Douglas just says, enough. Enough of this. We're going to shore it up. He has his quarterback. Don't forget, we've never seen Joe Douglas with his quarterback and chosen coaching staff intact. This is the first free agent period we're going to see Joe Douglas with those two pieces in place. So maybe, just maybe, he uses this almost $70 million that he'll end up having after some cuts on the offensive line in free agency, really spending some money. So we have some options. Obviously, we have the draft, but really, the first thing is going to be free agency. He has brought in what we can call bargain guys. Even Fant was a big question mark when he brought him on. He had never really started at left tackle or right tackle for that matter before. He had played it and he played tight end for the Seahawks, but he was a big question mark. So Joe Douglas has gone an interesting route while he was kind of building his team through the draft, has used some draft picks on the offensive line, of course, 2 first-round picks. But what are we going to do this year? This year, I think he's got to go out and make a statement and grab at least one of the free agent interior offensive linemen and make this draft, going into the draft, make it a little bit less urgent. Okay, take away some of that urgency and get some guys in here that can start right away, spend some money. So a couple of guys that we have. One is Brandon Scherf. Everybody throws out Brandon Scherf. He's going to be 30 years old, and he's never finished an NFL season. He's never played all the games in a season, never. So going on 30 years old, he's making $18 million this year because he's on his second franchise tag. Now, I don't think he'll command that much money, but he is going to want probably the top contract out there in interior offensive lineman. So I don't know if you want to put all that money, say 14, 15, 16 million dollars into a guy that's probably going to give you anywhere from 10 to 14 games a year at best, right? Because he's never done it. And he's getting older, so the thought is that he can actually be wearing down. Now, talent, without question. The talent's not the issue. He's a great guard. He's been an all-pro, Pro Bowler, all those things. But I don't know if Scherf is going to be the way that Joe Douglas goes. But he's out there. Another guy is Ryan Jensen, the center from the Bucs. Now, Ryan Jensen is also 30 years old. His health has not been quite the issue that Scherf's has. But he is 6'4", 319 pounds. He was a 6th-round pick. So this is one of those things where, guys get so caught up and you need to use your firsts on offensive line. But the truth is that's not the case. You can find guys later. Jensen's a good example. That 6th-round pick, he gave up 2 sacks out of 1,151 snaps, and he's probably going to cost around $10 million a year. Don't forget, with Tom Brady retiring, they do have Kyle Trask. He was a 2nd-round pick last year, and they might love him. The team might love him. I don't know. He had a good college career, as we know. But I think that some of these guys are going to see this opportunity. Like maybe they'll be willing to take a little bit less money to stay with the Tom Brady version of the Bucs, but he's gone. Maybe now's the time. Jensen's 30 years old. He's going to want to get a payday. $10 million probably gets it done. He can play guard. Maybe you bring him in at center, move McGovern to guard, whatever it is. But he's a guy to keep an eye out. I think you should definitely consider Ryan Jensen. Another interesting guy is the 25-year-old guard from the Cowboys, Connor Williams. He's 6'5", 300 pounds. He's excellent in both facets of the offensive line game, run blocking and pass blocking. He gave up 1 sack out of 948 snaps, and he's probably going to cost anywhere from $6 to $10 million. So he could be a guy, that you go out there and you pay. The Dallas Cowboys are interesting. We all talk about Dalton Schultz. There's a potential trade for Amari Cooper. Maybe we get Cooper, Schultz, and then we go ahead and scoop up Connor Williams as well and just become the New York Cowboys like so many years ago. The Redskins, remember when they were the Redskins, now the Commanders, went out there and signed 4 New York Jets in free agency. They called them the Washington Jetskins. Remember that? Who was that? Chad Morton, Lavernius Coles, John Hall, and Chad Morton. Remember Chad Morton? Oh, that was good. He was good. So Connor Williams is another guy that you might want to consider, true guard too. So he's versatile, but he plays guard, and he'd be a nice piece to plug in there. He's going to start super young. You can have him the rest of his career if you want, and you'll have a nice 8-10 years of the guy if that's the route you want to go. Another guy is Laken Tomlinson, 29 years old, 6'3", 312 pounds. This guy was a first-round pick in 2015. He gave up 2 sacks out of 1,094 snaps. Very, very good. And the guy is kind of known as, he's a rock. He's solid. And he's probably going to cost around $8 million, they're saying. Maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. But that's the general range that we're talking about with Tomlinson. And he's another one, man. solid. You want to get a guy in here and just know that the position's taken care of. You can do that in free agency with a guy like Tomlinson. So he's somebody to consider. Now, another one from the Bears. This is probably my favorite one out of the bunch. Now, he did have his best year in 2021, so it's one of those things, but he had an incremental developmental process. So he was getting better every year, so he could be coming into his prime. He's only 24 years old, and I'm talking about James Daniels, the guard from the Chicago Bears, 6'4", 295 pounds, gave up 3 sacks out of 1,121 snaps. So again, very, very good. He was a second-round pick in 2018. So he's one of those guys, again, you don't need to use a first round pick. I believe he was right in the 50 range, 40, low 40s. That's where he was taken in the second round and in 2018. So guys, when you think about the draft, you don't need to use your premium first round pick, especially top 10 picks on offensive linemen. There are plenty just littered throughout the NFL that are second to seventh round picks. They're all over the place. Fourth rounders, third rounders. And Daniel's still a premium pick, obviously, with the second round. But again, this is a guy that we might want to consider. 24 years old, and I would love him. And he's probably looking around $8 to $10 million a year. Now, if Joe Douglas goes out and grabs one of those guys, just I'm spending some money. I don't want any more question marks. He goes out and grabs Daniels or Tomlinson, just grabs him and plugs him in, pays him $10 million a year, and we got our right guard. Then we can start to settle down again. Like I said earlier, with no urgency, we can absolutely look at different positions in the draft. Maybe you still go tackle. I don't know, but you can now start to think pipeline guys. And I'll get into a couple of those very, very quickly. Again, I wanted to focus on free agency, but in the draft, if you are going to use a premium first round pick, a guy like Kenyon Green, in my opinion, is probably the best guard in the draft. He's this year's AVT. The guy's incredibly versatile. He plays both guard spots and right tackle without issue. He can play right tackle. Super strong, super tenacious, just incredible lower body strength and balance. And the guy's, he's known as I like to use the term a lot, but it's the truth. He's a road grader, plays through the whistle. You got to love it. So he's somebody, if you want him, you got to use your top end. He's not making out of the first half of the first, in my opinion. So if you're going to do that, that could be a guy that you think about. But again, if we do use the free agent side of things and get one of these vet guards in here, just be unafraid to pay him and get him in here. Kenyon Green is probably going to be off the board. And then you can look at guys maybe late second, third round. Darian Kennard out of Kentucky, another super aggressive guy, plays through the whistle, very strong in run blocking and like play action pass. The guy, he mauls people. Now he's 345 pounds, 6'3", 345, but he's super light on his feet, pulls, runs around, slithers through everything. He's just an incredibly versatile and aggressive piece to the offensive line. And again, if you get a guy in here through free agency, grabbing Kennard in the third round, maybe even the fourth round, let him sit for a year or two and then see where it goes. Now we got depth. Now we're talking depth, and this might be a route that we want to consider. Another one, and I've been watching him at the Senior Bowl this week, guys, is Cole Strange. Oh my God, 6'6", 301 pounds out of Chattanooga. Just watch the Senior Bowl practices. You're going to see him. He's badass. He's tenacious. He's big. Strong. He's perfect for the wide zone scheme. He battles through the whistle, and he's known to have a mean streak. Every single play, he goes out there to dominate and crush the guy in front of him. He's always perpetually pissed off, as we like to say. So that's a guy you're not gonna need to think about Strange until the 4th to 6th round. So we have 2 4ths and 2 5ths. This could be a guy perfect for a pipeline. He's predicted to be a developmental starter. So it's a guy, don't plug and play. Don't grab him and throw him in if you can avoid it, but let him sit for a year or two. When the next guy goes, Perfect. And that's the kind of situation that we want to get into. So there's a few guys I wanted to throw at you. Don't forget, if you want more Jets talk than you can possibly stomach, JetNation.com is the place to be. We have representation down at the Senior Bowl, and all the news and content that you could want is all at JetNation.com. If you want to get in the conversation, click forums. And let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Are these guys insufficient for you? Do you like somebody else? Let me know in the comments. I love chatting with you, as you know. And as always, go Jets.